first video on the warrior class in the game TERA Online. I'm going to focus on the PvP aspect of the game, and I'm going to play the warrior in assault stance. So in case any one of you might want to hear something about how to play the defensive stance warrior with their stagger combos and that stuff, that's not going to be included into this video. Okay, first of all, I want to introduce the skills to you, starting off with the combo attack, which is basically looking like this. This is the warrior's combo attack on the Kastanic female in this case. Now, of course, you want to know the combo attack basically consists out of 4 different hits, and then it starts with the first one again. Only the first one of these hits is basically what you want to use in PvP. The first hit will stagger. Staggering basically means that it will cancel the animations of the opponent's skill. Like, for example, how's that? The KD skill, do the KD skill on me, and it's cancelled the skill. This is basically how the first hit of combo attack works. Also, the other combo attack hits, you don't really want to use them in PvP because they are not staggering anymore. All 4 hits of the combo attack slow the opponent though, so in case you just want to slow, feel free to use the other hits as well. Next up, the skill next up is Evasive Roll, very important of course. Important for that one to know is that you should always use the glyph of unending, which reduces the RE cost. RE is this bar under your MP bar here in the upper left corner of my screen. It basically allows you to dodge or block when in defensive stance, but yeah, we are not thinking about defensive stance here. So basically it consumes RE when you're doing your evasive roll, like this. Now attacking an opponent will restore these RE. Same with using a certain skill that I'm going to introduce in more detail later, which is this one, Death from Above. Even when not hitting, it restores your RE, and you can dodge more often. Now, very important for this skill is that it also cancels animations that you may be stuck in. Let's say you have a very long animation like this one. Now let's wait for 10 seconds and I'm going to show you how this animation is cancelled when using the evasive roll. And it's off cooldown. And it's cancelled. This is basically also a very important factor of the evasive roll, because it enables you to move faster around the battlefield, and especially when fighting priests, for example, which I'm having right in front of me at the moment, you would want to always be able to follow the priest with your evasive rolls, while the skills that he uses, you want to cancel those with your staggers, because that is just reducing the amount of RE that you have to use. Okay, next skill up is a skill called Torrent Blows. Trust me, you don't want to use this one in PvP. Its damage is really extremely low, and it's mostly a PvE thing for tanking because it draws high aggro on the monsters. It looks like this, but don't use it. Next skill up, Rain of Blows, very important. It's one of your hardest hitting skills. It basically looks like this. Later on you will find out that you can also chain that skill into faster activations, but I'm going to tell you that when I'm at these skills that chain into Rain of Blows. It's one of your hardest hitting skills. You want to definitely glyph it for more damage. It's 25%. Next skill up is Battle Cry. Battle Cry basically is a very slow stun, but it's an AoE stun. The thing is, with this one, you basically have this battle cry. Wait, I'm gonna show you. This is how it looks. It is a very good stun when you want to stun a single opponent, maybe up to two, but when with the amount of people that you want to stun with that one at the same time, the effectiveness of it will decrease, because the chance of effect is going to be split up between those people. So basically, when you have like a 90% chance of stunning one opponent, you will only have a 45% chance to stunning each of those two opponents, and three opponents the chance is already getting really low. So it's mostly very useful for one person, maybe two people, but don't really try to use it on a bigger amount of people. This one for PvP, glyph it, at least I did, because I really like that skill. Glyph it for increased casting speeds, because otherwise, I'm going to show you, like when you don't use this one, everyone can evade it. It's just way too slow, and you don't want that. Okay, next skill up, the skill that I already talked about when I said that it's gonna restore RE when you use it. This is Death from Above. Also a very important thing about this skill is that it makes you invulnerable to any attacks. Basically, by the way, I'm gonna enable my casting speed again on Battlecry. The thing is, on the Death from Above, it makes you dodge all attacks, just like Evasive Roll does, and it restores RE, so you can use an Evasive Roll basically after that, almost one Evasive Roll. It restores enough RE to almost use one new Evasive Roll. Good thing about this one is... no, the bad thing about this one actually is that when you use this skill, you have a short animation lock at the end of it. Basically, because like when you're hitting the ground, you're not invulnerable to attacks anymore, but you can get hit by other people. This is a very huge flaw that that skill has for PvP. That's also why I only advise you to use it in times where you just have absolutely no other option, or you know that no one is gonna hit you afterwards. But that's also the reason why I'm not using any glyphs on this one, even though it's a very nice skill when used at the right situations. Next skill up is a skill called Poison Blade. This is how it looks. Makes the opponent look green, which is kind of nice. But yeah, this skill has a very low damage. As you see, even the like when you compare the amount of damage that this skill itself does with its poison compared to the amount of HP restored by the player, it's basically the same. So it's a really shit skill, and like it decreased the opponent's in this case Elambulance's HP right in front of me by 1% only. It's just not worth it most of the time, at least. At least in PvP, that is. It's also has its uses in PvE. Next skill up is Leaping Strike. It looks like this. The good thing about this skill is, as you can probably see, it moves you a lot. You have a lot of movement, and as a warrior you always want to keep moving. You always want to be following the opponent. You always want to stay close to him, at least almost always, unless you're facing maybe a Slayer, for example. But also for escaping from certain attacks, it is very useful. Next skill up is Retaliate. Please knock me down. Now the important thing about this skill is, as you saw in the upper right corner where my buffs are, this skill, when you use it, it makes you unable to escape from a knockdown really quickly. It does a certain amount of damage, but the damage is not too high. But the most important thing about this skill is that when you use it, you are invulnerable to KDs and stuns and staggers. You can evade directly after this one safely. But yeah, it only lasts for 2 seconds, and when you then get hit and your Retaliate is on cooldown for quite some time, you are basically not able to use it for quite some time, and then you don't want to get into KD chains by a berserker like that. Next skill up is Rising Fury. Rising Fury is as well like Leaping Strike. Skill that moves you mostly. It's also usable like when you use it twice, like this, and then you do another slash. That is the third slash of the Leaping Strike of the Rising Fury. The thing about this skill is only the last hit generates edge system. More about the edge later when we come to the level 60 skills. But about this skill, I like to use it in combination like this with my Rising Fury, because together with these two skills you have a lot of movement, and only the first two hits of this, so basically one activation of the skill, moves you a lot. The rest is just not, like, it's gonna, see, it lets you get stuck in the animation and then you don't move that fast. So basically when you're slowed, for example, use the skill and you're gonna be quite fast. And it only has 6 seconds cooldown, I think. So it's also not, oh, it's only 4.5 seconds, so it's not very long. Where was I? Next skill up. Oh, I actually skipped some. Okay, I'm gonna come to Charging Slash now. Very important about Charging Slash is this is your like large movement skill. Like it moves you a lot. This is the skill that moves you the furthest distance. It is perfect for chasing opponents. It's also very useful because it chains into one of your heaviest hitters, but more to that when I'm coming to that heavy hitter. The cooldown on it is not that long, it's 12 seconds. I personally glyphed this one for less cooldown, but if I would get rid of one glyph, it would be that one probably. It's a useful glyph, but it's not one of the most used. Like it's not one of the must-haves. Next skill up is Vortex Slash. Vortex Slash is basically only usable after Death from Above and like after your iframes, Death from Above and Evasive Roll. Like wait a second, I have to think where my Vortex Slash is on the keyboard. I think it's yep, this is the Vortex Slash. This was Evasive Roll and Vortex Slash combo. At the same time, you can also use the Death from Above Vortex Slash like this. More about that skill, or in how to chain this skill into other skills as well, because there's even chain skills from Vortex Slash into others later on. Next skill up is, well, okay, I kind of skipped Mangle. Mangle is just a useless skill. It basically decreases the opponent's movement speed when using combo attack, but at the same time combo attack already decreases the opponent's movement speed, so, and it only decreases the movement speed by on the last hit, so on the 4th hit of the combo attack. It's really not worth it. Don't use it. Next skill up is Combative Strike. Now that one is extremely important. This skill is next to your combo attack, the second and only second stagger. Like you have 2 staggers. This one is looks like this. Ellen, can you maybe use the KD skill on me again? Just to show how this... Okay, see, it also cancels the opponent's animation. The debuff that it gives the opponent is also very useful, because it basically decreases the opponent's endurance and HP recovery. Now, HP recovery meaning that the opponent's healing skills, especially very useful on healers, because of that, will decrease by 50%. They will heal themselves less when you have that skill on them. Now that's cleansable, but you want to use this skill basically all the time, because it also chains into lots of other skills that that you really want to use. One of these skills, like I told you already, I'm going to show you which skill goes into the Rain of Blows. One of these skills is your Rain of Blows, exactly. Like Combative Strike Rain of Blows executes the Rain of Blows in a faster way, like this. And then you're faster with your Rain of Blows. Yeah, that's basically it. It also, but that's very situational, it also changes into another skill later on that I can tell you about. It's gonna be Reaping Slash, but more about that one when we come to Reaping Slash. Okay, I already told you about Rising Fury. Deadly Gamble, very useful skill when you basically at all situations, but the thing is, this skill has quite a long cooldown. It has 2 minutes cooldown, and yeah, you don't necessarily want to get hit when you use that skill because it decreases your crit resistance but at the same time increasing your crit rate by a lot. So it's kinda like Death from Above, also very situational. It has its uses, it has its flaws, so always be careful with that one. By the way, forgot to mention that at the Combative Strike decreases HP consumption. That is also one of those skills, there are the glyphs, that is not always used, not always that needed, but is it comes in handy when you use it, because like you use it all the time basically, because it has 3 seconds cooldown, and you wanted to use it basically off when it's off cooldown all the time. And at some point it's just gonna add up, it's just gonna decrease your HP by a lot when you don't use that skill, that glyph. Now we come to a very important skill in fighting a larger amount of people, and I have glyphed that one like 3 times, so now you can guess that this is one of the more important skills. That we now come to the more important skills, the Cascade of Stuns. Cascade of Stuns basically is a very useless skill when you have no stuns on the opponent. Then just don't use it. But the thing about this skill is, when you hit an opponent that is stunned, the stun is gonna, like the Cascade of Stuns stun is gonna apply, which is quite a long stun, and at the same time it will also spread to other opponents around this stunned person. Basically, since the only stun that I introduced so far is Battle Cry, I'm going to show you this with Battle Cry. It also is a very high hitting skill. The damage that it does is very good. So it basically looks like this. Now you see the stun on it, it's about 3 seconds long, which is a long time in PvP, trust me. I glyphed it for more damage and Rain of Blows, more to that when I come to the combos that you should use in PvP, but you will see that this glyph is very useful. Then more damage, like I said, it is a very hard hitting skill, and you want to use it, this glyph, because it is very nice. Next one up is also increases effect duration. Like I said, it is probably the warrior's, not probably, it is the warrior's longest stun, and you definitely want it to last as long as possible. You want in PvP all stuns to last as long as possible, basically. Now next skill up. Now this skill is the skill why many people choose to play warrior. The next skill up is Backstab. Now Backstab is absolutely useless when you, no, not absolutely useless, but not very useful when you don't chain it with your Cascade of Stuns, because the stun of it is actually very short. This is how long the stun lasts without the Cascade of Stuns. But at the same time, I already glyphed it for a longer duration. Like I said, you want it always to have a longer duration. But that's mostly because people can escape from the backstab before you can even hit a Cascade of after the backstab, before you can even do a Cascade of Stuns when you don't use that glyph. other glyphs that I'm using is decreased cooldown on it, and okay, that might be surprising for most people. Generates 1 additional edge on Backstab in PvP, but I will explain that to you in more detail once again when I come to the combos. Yeah, basically you want to use this Backstab, like I said, usually in combination with your Cascade of Stuns like this. This is usually what you want to go for. But yeah, enlarging that stuff later on. Next skill up is Staggering Counter. Now for Staggering Counter, this is your last stun that I will introduce, and it is at the same time the only stun that is really bound to something that you have to fulfill in order to actually execute it. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. I also glyphed this one for longer duration. Like I said, you want all your stuns to last as long as possible in PvP. But you need to get hit first. Can you maybe hit me with an auto attack? And then you can execute it. It basically also turns the enemy around, which is very useful because then you can have some time to attack the opponent from the back. Okay, next skill up is, let's see, Smoke Aggressor. Yes, Smoke Aggressor. Looks like this. Does 34 damage, 46 damage. It's useless in PvP. The only thing where you might think that it might come in handy is when you want to get rid of archer traps, for example. It triggers these traps. When it runs into traps, it triggers them, but most of the time, because it consumes quite a lot of your HP, it's in 99.99999% of the time, it's just not worth going for it, okay? Next skill up is a skill, okay, like you can command this Smoke Aggressor to attack and to follow. Yeah, like I said, it's useless. Next skill up is Pounce. Now I glyph Pounce for increased attack speed. Like, it's not gonna increase your attack speed, but it's gonna increase the speed of the execution of Pounce. Now Pounce is another skill that is triggering Rain of Blows in a faster way, like Combative Strike did. Now Pounce looks like this. And now change it to Rain of Blows, it executes it in a faster way. Also very important about Pounce is that it is, like your auto attack, is slow. Now when a person walks around, it's gonna be slower. You want to keep that that thing up. For example, when a priest has the Kaya's shield and their stun resistance on, in that case the Guardian Sanctuary, then the only thing that you can safely apply to them is, for example, because you can't stun them, you can't stagger them, the only thing you can do on them is a slow, for example. Then you still have some free DPS on them, because they can't escape from you that fast. Okay, next skill up. Let's see, that one is Traverse Cut. Now Traverse Cut is also chained into after Combative Strike and Pounce. It is basically only used by after these two skills, and you don't want to really use it that often in PvP because it has an endless animation and everyone is just gonna get out of it, and the damage that it does is also not that high. This is basically how it looks like. By the way, like, usually this Traverse Cut hits 3 hits, I think, and 13 hits when you use it after Pounce or Combative Strike, so that's why you only use it after that. It looks like this, but the animation is endless, like I said. It has its uses when an opponent runs away from you, because it moves you a lot. Like, look at this. You still move a bit with it. But it also puts a debuff on the opponent, which decreases the opponent's endurance by 0.85%. with each hit, 13 hits equaling 10%, basically. Around 10%. Maybe it's exactly 10%. I don't want to do the math. Next skill up. It's Blade Draw. Blade Draw is for PvE the skill of the skills, but for PvP it's not as OP, but it is a very nice skill because it increases your. It has a very high damage. This is basically your highest hitting skill when you don't have 10 stacked Scythe, but more about that when you come to Scythe. The Blade Draw definitely delivered for more damage because, like I said, heavy hitter with more damage, always a win. Then I also use the Persistent Blade Draw, which has a 50% chance of eliminating cooldown. I hope that the RNGesus is strong with me now and it's actually going to reset. Yes, it did reset. Look at this. Reset, reset. I can use it a couple of times in a row. And now the cooldown applied, which is 11 seconds. Now, this skill is very important to know. Like, it has a very, very slow animation. You need to know the skills that chain into your Blade Draw. Now, one of those skills is Rising Fury, after the last hit, and then fast execution of Blade Draw. Another skill that is possible to chain into Blade Draw is your Traverse Cut. You can cancel, that is very important about your Traverse Cut, that's why it still is viable in PvP, even though the animation is endless. The Traverse Cut can be chained and cancelled into your Blade Draw. Look at this, and see, like, I don't do all the 13 hits, I just do like 2 or 3 hits and then use my Blade Draw. And since it's a very hard hitting skill, that is a very nice way of doing it. Now, the last skill, no, not the last skill, but that skill is it's usually not useful in PvP, because another skill that chains into Blade Draw is Charging Slash, but Charging Slash has this error of failing a lot when you're attacking the opponent. It just doesn't hit most of the time. Let's see how it works out now, but most likely it's not gonna hit. See, it's just not gonna hit. What is useful about Charging Slash, though, at certain situations, is that it chains into Blade Draw. Look at this. This time it even hit, but yes, it chains into Blade Draw. That is very useful, especially when opponents want to escape, because you can charge at them from a farther distance and then use Blade Draw directly when you hit them. Now, very annoying about the Charging Slash Blade Draw thing is that sometimes your Charging Slash just stops in front of the opponent for no reason and you can't execute it. It just has its errors, sadly, but that's mostly because the Warriors also has a lot of desync problems. Well, that's not the topic of this video. Last thing that chains into Blade Draw is your Vortex Slash. Like I said, Vortex Slash activates after death from above and Evasive Roll, and when you use this, you can chain it into your Blade Draw. Okay, those are the basic, most important things about Blade Draw. Now about the Scythe and the Reaping Slash. Now, those two are like for very high hits of those, you need like high damage hits. You need edge on the opponent. Skills that generate edge are last hit of your Rising Fury, your Poison Blade, your Combative Strike, your Charging Slash when it hits, which it usually doesn't, your Blade Draw, your and the last one being no, not the last one, your Backstab, and Death from Above also generates edge. Those skills generate edge on the warrior, and the more edge you have on the opponent, the higher is gonna be the, like, not necessarily, like, the thing is about these is okay, I'm gonna do a 10 stack Scythe now. See, this is the heaviest hitter on the warrior. The thing is, when you have that skill on the opponent, when you have 10 stacks on the opponent, which will rarely happen, because opponent is gonna evade, gonna block, whatever, you are most likely not gonna get this. If you get it, then it is most likely on a priest. And when you get it, you want to use the Scythe on the back of them. The most important thing about Scythe is that it KDs. That is the real use of it in PvP. Because, like I said, you will most likely not get edge on them. Now, about the edge system itself, when you have 1 edge, 0 edge, 1 edge, 2 edge, it's not going to increase the damage of any skills at all. And you're also not going to consume edge when you use the skills. The 2 skills that use edge, by the way, are Reaping Slash and Scythe. Now I'm going to show you Reaping Slash as well. It also is a KD skill, by the way. Now, important about this is, like I said, 3 edge are gonna execute into more damage on these skills. 10 edge is the next stop. Like 3 edge, 4 edge, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 edge. Those are also not gonna increase the damage of your skills. But when you have 10, then it's gonna increase the damage of the skills. Like, you can even look at the colors. Like, this is 1 edge, it's gray. 2 edge, it's gray. 3 edge, it's now some kind of yellowish orange color. And like you saw, when it has 10 stacks, I don't want to build up all that now, but then it turns into red. So yeah, like I said, the most important thing about your Scythe and your Reaping Slash is that that they KD. That is very, very, very important, because I'm going to show you some chains in which you can even get the opponent to do KD chains. Like after Retaliate, he cannot escape anymore because he used his Retaliate. Now about the Reaping Slash and the Scythe as well. Not about the Scythe, but about the Reaping Slash. Very important is not very important, but it has its uses, really. It has a faster execution when you use it after your combative strike, like this. This is basically a faster execution of your Reaping Slash. Now the last skill that I'm going to talk about, because cross parry is their block, and smoke flanker, which is only used after your block, are defensive stance skills, so I'm not going to talk about these. Last skill that is very important to know is your new level 65 skill, which is Binding Swords. Now Binding Sword basically pulls the opponent towards you. It basically consists out of 2 phases. The first phase inflicting damage on the opponent, look at this, and the second phase being pulling the opponent towards you. Now the most important thing about this skill that you need to know for PvP is it's very nice to pull the opponent towards you, but it is very stupid that this skill makes the opponent, while being drawn in and shortly after that as well, immune to staggers, KDs and stuns. So yeah, it really is absolutely useless for yourself. When you can combo it with a good sorcerer, for example, that can time a fire blast very well with you, drawing the opponent in, it is very nice. When you are on your own, all you can do basically after this, Alan, can you maybe try to evade after I pulled you in, and I'm going to show the people that you can basically only maximum do 1 combative strike, and that's it. And then the opponent evades. Even though combative strike is a stagger, the opponent should be staggered, but it's not gonna happen, because this makes you stagger immune, like I said. That is the huge flaw about this skill. At the same time, it can pull up to 4 targets in, so it's nice for positioning the people. It's nice to get them into your position where you want them. And when you have AoE classes, it is useful, but not when you are dueling, for example, and it's most of the time not very useful. Unless you may be fighting a priest and they already used their evade, then it might be very useful, because then they can't escape from you directly when you draw them in. Okay, that's basically all there is to know about the skills of the warrior. Now, you also saw my glyph setup, and now I'm basically want to talk about the most basic warrior rotation that everyone just needs to know when you're a warrior, because this is basically what warriors use when it's possible. This rotation might sound like quite long, but you just have to learn it by heart, and later on it's just gonna go fluently. Basically, the rotation consists of Backstab, Cascade of Stuns, Combative Strike, Rain of Blows, Reaping Slash. I'm going to show you that real quick. This is basically how the rotation looks like. Now, very important about this one is, after your backstab, some people like to use Poison Blade, for example, for some extra damage, even though I told you the damage of it is very low. The thing is, the damage of it is very low, like I said, and at the same time, it makes it possible for the opponent to escape sometimes, because stuns are not always equally long. There's some kind of RNG involved, and it's random. The length of stuns is, to a certain degree, random, and that's why they might escape sometimes, and it's really not worth it, because then you just wasted the backstab, used one poison blade, and the opponent is gone, and you use all your heavy hitters. Not at all. So I don't like to use it. Some people do. Not a fan of it. Now, this rotation is basically the reason why I told you something about more damage on Cascade. No, not more damage on Cascade, but more damage on Rain of Blows after using Cascade, and about this double edge on Backstab. Now, more damage on Rain of Blows, of course, because you use it after the Cascade, and more damage, the 2 edge are for the Reaping Slash, because, like I said, I'm not using Poison Blade, and Rain of Blows also generates edge, by the way, and when you use this Rain of Blows on the opponent, you will want to cancel it most of the time. Like the last hit of, like, this is a fully done Rain of Blows, and the last hit of the Rain of Blows can be cancelled into a Reaping Slash. So that's faster then. You usually want to do that, because otherwise there is a possibility, just like with the Poison Blade, that the opponent is gonna escape. And only the last hit of the Rain of Blows actually generates the edge that you want. And like I said, you need 3 edge in order to do more damage on your Reaping Slash. So, when you use your Backstab, you generate 1 edge without the glyph. Use Combative Strike, it's the 2nd edge. Use a not fully done Rain of Blows, no edge of it. So basically you only have 2 edge, and use Reaping Slash. You're not going to do much damage with it. Use this glyph, which only has 2 glyph points for the battle, for the backstab with double edge. You're going to create 2 edge on the backstab, 1 on the combative strike, which generates into 3 edge, greatly empowering the damage of your Reaping Slash at the end of the combo. So that's why I like to use it. But at the same time, when you somehow manage to build up an edge before you use your backstab already, then it's an absolutely useless glyph, of course. But when you want to start off with this combo that I just showed you, then it is very, very useful. Now, about KD chains. I personally like to use the Battle Cry Scythe combo, for example, which looks basically like this. After the knockdown, Ambulance, I ask you to retaliate, and not move after that, just retaliate, and I'm gonna show people how this basically works. Like I said, when you KD someone and they use retaliate, it's on cooldown for quite some time. So basically this combo looks like this. That was a fail. let's wait for 30 seconds. I was too far away. Yeah, it has a range of 8 meters, but in this case I was a tiny bit too far away. Let's wait 15 seconds and then we can do it again. But yeah, it depends on the KDs. This KD chain depends on the KDs of your Scythe and your Reaping Slash. Since Reaping Slash has a long cooldown, you can only use this combo most of the time once and then it's off. Okay. Now you have to wait for a bit because of the stun of now you can use this as well because the opponent cannot retaliate. Now you can basically enlarging your chain of that I told you already with the Backstab rotation with the Reaping Slash at the end. Then use one Evasive Roll to use your Vortex Slash and Blade Draw. So this really can come in handy in certain situations. So this is basically the KD chain that I like to use. And last thing that I want to explain to you in this video, which is very important to me, is Stagger. Stagger is very, very important on the warrior. Always try to stay close to the opponent and stagger them to death. Like I said, you have staggering. You have your combo attack and your competitive strike. Basically, trying to. And now, by the way, when you use your Deadly Gamble, the Deadly Gamble got improved with the level 65 patch. Also, reducing melee attacks cooldown on by 50%. That does not apply to stuns like Backstab, Staggering Counter, and Cascade of Stuns, and also not to Battle Cry. But the nice thing about this in PvP, since it's mostly a PvE buff, but the nice thing about it in PvP is that it also decreases the duration of your competitive strike cooldown. That results into very nice stagger combos like this one. It's possible. Like, of course, there is a certain time where they can evade, but when they of course they can evade at some point, and then you can get them into that stagger combo again. They can't use any like heavy hitters or something. All they can basically do when you do this is evade and get away from you, because this is a very nice way of keeping the opponent in a stagger lock. Now, very important about this stagger as well is people can evade your things, your stuns, and a way to make sure that these people don't evade your stuns is by staggering them beforehand. Now, when a warrior misses his backstab, you are basically you're basically fucked. You want to land your backstab. When you don't land it, this whole rotation that I showed you before is not gonna work out. You can also do it after Staggering Counter, for example, or Battle Cry, of course. You can also, like, as soon as he has the opponent in a stun, you can always use your Cascade, and then your Combative Strike, Rain of Blows, Reaping Slash, that kind of stuff. It always works, of course. But the easiest way to do it is with Backstab. And you want to land it. You just want to land it. If you fail on it, you're gonna lack a lot of damage in a fight, especially in 1 versus 1. Now the important thing is, when you use a combative strike or an auto attack beforehand, it is impossible for the opponent to evade your backstab when you do it like this, for example. The opponent can't evade it. So I personally like to stagger the opponent before using a stun. By the way, it's the same with Battle Cry. Now this is very important because some races can't do this, because some races can chain their combative strike into a Battle Cry. Castanic female can't do that. Now, important about this is it still works with your combo attack. So basically, when you land a combative strike using combo attack and then your Battle Cry like this. And then you can of course enlarge it with a Scythe, for example. So yeah, you always want to stagger the opponent, but it's situational. Like when you can't land a stagger on the opponent and you know they have no evade left, or you know they are not gonna see this coming, then use it. It's just a way of making really sure that this thing is actually going to work, that the chain that you actually had in mind. I guess that's basically what I wanted to tell you about the warrior. Those are the basics, those are the most important things that you need to know about the chains that you have to use, the stuns and the staggers. Of course, you can always feel free to improvise this kind of stuff, because most of the stuff that you need to do in fights is improvise and see things coming. Like, for example, Ellen Blunts, can you lock, for example, your Plague of Exhaustion on me? Or your Sleep, I don't really care. Evade it with your Evasive Roll, that's very important. Like I said, it's the iframe. You need to learn to dodge things. That's why it's very important for a warrior also to learn all skills of the opponents, because you need to dodge them when you're playing in assault stance. Otherwise you can just hold your block and you're basically good, but in assault stance you need to know when to dodge. But of course I can't provide that to you in this video. Anyways guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope that I helped you to learn something about the warrior class, and I guess I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for watching. See ya.